Go. It's a happening. The meeting. She record now.
Well, hello. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us for our performance check for episode 14 of Pages and Mages. We had a really action-packed episode last night with a ton of lots of action happening. There was a lot of goat references, some occasional references to IKEA, just a lot of crazy stuff happening.
Start the cart.
Start the cart.
Start the cart. The goat cart.
The goat cart.
Still my favorite joke of the night. I think I want to just dive right into this because it felt like such an action-packed situation. I want to find out from the players, or from everybody here tonight, what was one thing that surprised you, and then what's something that you want to offer to one of the other players, or just to an element of the night as a rose, as a thank you for an excellent moment. So the first person I want to start is Calvin DiSilva, who played Ripley Creed.
Something that surprised me. I think I'll start by giving a rose to Sarah Bannister, who's not here, who played Zrill, but just her mime work over the course of was solid. Pretty brilliant. And just really fun to look at. And yeah, something that surprised me. I guess I had to duck out of the game briefly, but coming back in was like super seamless and like really well done. And I feel like I didn't really miss a beat, so that was pretty neat. Yeah.
Surprise.
It was a surprise that it was all went so smoothly, which is wonderful. The next person to go up would be Alan Johnson, who played Darius Derry Nightford.
A lot of things surprised me, to be honest, as they often do. Definitely was surprised that when Derry was consumed by this energy, he got super buff rather than passing out like Gerardo did. So like it was a nice surprise. I was like, hell yeah, here I come. Also very surprised at the reveal of Ikeant, which if you go back and watch that episode and watch my reaction, it's a mixture of surprise, shame,
rage,
befuddlement, rage, a whole lot of emotions, really.
I like when you were like, I want to rage again.
Yeah, can I double rage?
Double rage, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, as a rose, I do want to give a rose to Kevin for his Arnold character and his commitment to the Arnold character. It was a lot of fun to play off of that character, as goofy and pop culture reference as it was. It was fun. I enjoyed that character. So.
That would be a great segue, actually, because I was going to now actually ask Kevin Cork, who DM'd the game. What was something that surprised you? What's a rose you want to offer to the show?
I really liked. The surprise was that the IKEA wasn't like an instant huge hit for sure, obvious. I really liked how everybody responded. Everyone was pretty cool with when Calvin had to drop out. There was lots of great touches. Like there's lots of great things that added color. So whether Emma, with you coming up with goat cart or goat noises and things to add to the nuance, the fact that we have a flying gnome was so great as an extra little bit of color, and it just added visually, mentally visually to so many things. I think everybody. Oh, the fact that the Zrill got so attached to
the goats, yeah,
instantly, which gave a whole slew of things to play off of and work around. Plus, the idea of having them climb up the side of the IKEA was great. So I think every player had brought in individual bits and pieces that added to the overall story. Plus the fact that, of course, given the nature of what we're doing and the nature of where we are in our arcs and things, it has to be a little railroady in terms of we're going to A to B to C to D, because we got to get to E by the end of July or whatever it is. So, but even within that, there was all sorts of side things going on. So I really enjoyed how well everybody played together. That's my general rose.
Oh, that's great. That's a bouquet.
Bouquet.
Oh, wow. Those are expensive.
Yes. And it's not just like the Safeway bouquet. It's like a full FTD bouquet.
Yeah, you went to a florist.
You don't get those very often, especially from Kevin.
That's right.
Well, that's nice for you to pop up there, because you're next on my list. Curt McKinstry played Tita Aunt Emakir. Yeah, and I'd love to hear what surprised you and what's something that you loved there.
Well, I mean, I have to totally give props to Kevin as well for the RNLD. Like, I mean, come on, that was a show stealer right there, and I was just like, you've got to be kidding me! Like this could have gone. It could have gone on all night. that scene, like it really could have.
Did it not go on all night?
It felt like it. It felt like it.
In fact, I think
it was pretty rock star.
Arnold would comment from like the distance occasionally, if I remember.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, yeah, he was always present. And there was lots of like roses that I could give. I mean, I loved the little scene that Derry and I had while we were like playing dead. I could have played that a little longer. That would have been fun. And again, like Zrill getting really attached to the goat, so I thought was really cute. And the fact that like 2 gnomes and 2 humans, like that visual element that was created, I thought was super fun to play with him. Yeah, the Lipizzaner goats.
Right. And actually, that's just to expand on what I'm talking about. Those little vignettes were so visually, just with words, they were immediately snapped images into people's heads, for sure.
Yeah.
Emma Brager, you played all of the sounds. You made the landscape unfold before our ears. What was the thing that surprised you last night, and what's something you want to offer?
Well, Jason Mehmel, thank you so much for inviting me today. It's really a pleasure to be here with you and the rest of these incredible artists. That's a stupid joke. My surprise. What's something that surprised me? I guess
your office or something like.
Yeah, I'm running for office. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You can call my constituency office. My honestly surprise was the goat, right? Because and that's a great surprise. I love those kinds of things, and I love being able to pull it off, to pull a sound cue on the fly. It's the best when I can gift you guys with a sound cue in the moment. Because everything else, like I have sort of options prepared for things. I've got the ye olde standards on the docs, but yeah, it's fun when you're in the wild unknown of improvised internet performance to be like, aha, score, a goat.
Yes. Finally, I get to use my goat thing I got 3 years ago.
No, I mean, well, sidebar, I got that goat for the holiday one shot because we had a sheep familiar, or a bighorn sheep familiar
Right. Yeah.
in that episode. So I knew.
So you're saying you used a sheep sound for the goat?
No, I'm saying I used a goat sound for the sheep, but don't tell Spencer 3 months ago. Yeah, that was my surprise. My roses, multiple, I only could afford 2, were one for Karen, who is Kevin's wife and one of our greatest fans, who was in the chat, and she watches, I think, on Twitch instead of YouTube. Either way, she's like always got a chat delay going on, and she commented in the chat something along the lines of, I've got a 7-second delay here, and I knew Kevin was going to say I can't 7 seconds before all of you even started laughing about it. Which that's the kind of audience participation we need for our
I think it's the other way around, because she can hear Kevin say I can't, and then the rest of us have to wait, or the rest of the internet has to wait 7 minutes.
Oh, you think she can hear in real time inside? It's coming from inside the house?
That makes sense.
Oh.
Because I get loud.
We know. Okay, well, she can still have the rose, even though it's for something slightly different than what I thought it was.
Right.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, I mean, I already bought it. And then my other rose goes also to the chat, to the all the comments about the goat or who is Sylvia that were coming
Oh
up.
my god.
Just a lovely little nod to our combined theater roots. And people were like, what is this reference? And people were like, it's a really horny play about an intimate relationship between a man and a goat. And the cultural evolution that took place within the chat is
I had no idea about the reference either, so I was very confused, and I was like, what's up with this goat? Why is it? I don't get it.
Didn't they do it here not too long ago? Didn't they like actually produce it?
When I was in university, my friend Chris Duffy was in that show. Yeah.
And they did it at the university?
No, at ATP, I think.
At ATP, yeah, right. That's right. Yeah.
What's it
shout
called?
out to ATP
Sorry,
there.
what's the play called?
It's called The Goat.
The Goat.
It's called The Goat.
Or Who is Sylvia? It's by Edward Albee. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that does ring a bell. Yeah, okay.
And,
Yeah, and it's funny because I didn't get her reference at all. I couldn't figure out what she was doing with this, why it was called Sylvia.
she didn't even want, like, she said, like, I don't want to call the goat Sylvia. And then
But
like,
that's
that
the
was
thing.
so
At
great.
that point, it's too late. Like, you can't throw that out there and
Yeah.
expect everyone to be like, yes, we also reject your offer. Like, you've offered it. We're all taking it.
But I love the
was
goat
good.
in a different way. I just want to be explicit about that. It's a
Yeah.
different kind of love.
Fair enough.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's good cultural hybridization there.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of which, this was probably, I feel like, the most reference-heavy show we've
It
had
was-
in a while.
It was pretty rife with them.
Yeah. Which I enjoyed. Like the audience in the chat seemed to be really riffing on it too. So it was a lot of fun to kind of
Great.
like, especially like the Ikeant. I think like we were all like, wow, that's great. And was there also a Swedish chef in there too?
I think that was the voice of the Keant, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's Morgenborg,
Yeah.
which really should be the name if I'm going to homebrew it. The Smorgasbord.
Yeah, the smorgasbord.
And actually, I want to say another rose with a caveat is to Kevin for really resisting how many references he would make with Arnold, because I expected it throughout, and really we only got one at the end with "I'll be back." So like, great work with
Yeah.
lots of
Well, there was some
Yeah,
for sure. What I should have done is like been like prepped as Jen and had like 6 key phrases that I wanted Arnold to be able to say.
You don't do that? You don't prep your references?
I do. I prep everything else except my Arnold references. Arnold is going to be off the cuff.
When we did a Star Wars episode last season, the May the 4th episode,
Mhm.
I wrote down sheets and sheets of Star Wars quotes to pull from at the drop of a hat, and didn't use a single one, of course. But
Yeah.
Right.
Before we wrap up this performance check, one thing I did want to do is just if there was any kind of more like D&D things that we noticed in the session, that like anything that anybody had a question about, or like a moment that they liked particularly in that respect as well, just in case any of our listeners or watchers are wanting a bit of the nuts and bolts stuff too.
So I had a question. I don't think I've ever understood bonus actions. You know, I'm a level 6 player now, but like, you know, it seems like every once in a while people just like go to town on them, and then I know that Sarah tried to do a bonus action, and we had some debate as to whether or not it was okay. But
yeah, there's some I think there's general confusion because in a different campaign play, not on the internet, just with still on the internet but not broadcasted. There's confusion with the extra attack ability that a lot of melee, like I have it as a barbarian, Sarah has it as a fighter, and there's some confusion there because it's basically if you use the attack action, then you can use it again if you have that ability. So that's what I was doing with I was essentially getting 3 attacks because I was doing my normal attack, which gives me the extra attack action. But and with your question about bonus actions, I also have, because I have two weapon fighting, I can use a bonus action to attack with my other hand axe. And there's just some caveats to that, which I with numbers, but basically every player always has on their turn has the ability to do 2 actions and a bonus action if it warrants, or if they have those options.
2 attacks, not 2 actions.
No, 2 actions, because you can do movement and, or sorry, yeah, 1 action and 1 movement. Sorry, that's what I meant. Movement, action, and bonus action.
And then sometimes if you take the attack action,
Sometimes.
that's 2.
If you have extra attack, taking the attack action can give you 2 attacks, yeah.
But casting a spell is not the attack action.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's where that came up.
That's where that confusion came. Yeah, it's so she did her attack action and she wanted to do an extra attack, but she chose to do a spell instead.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's happened with my other party that I play with as well, where there's just confusion because it's like, well, I have extra attack. Why can't I attack with my spell? And it's just a matter of what that action actually means. So
yeah, action economy is not. It's really clear when you get it, but it's like a bit of a quagmire to get there and be like, right, okay, yeah, I've got an action, a bonus action, and a movement on every turn, and then a reaction every round, just to fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So also, I had no idea she had a little cantrip going off there.
yeah, surprise. She took a magic initiative in that initiate feat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which is
Cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think
cool
that's what I find really cool about D&D is like, even if you choose a class that's primarily a fighter or a magic user or whatnot, the paths that you take, the options that you can choose, can give you the option to balance out your character a bit more. Like I chose the herbalist path as a barbarian, so I have like healing powers, which is not normal, quote unquote normal with what you associate a barbarian with, but it fits for my character. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, in our game, for the viewers at home, we made a rule that we could only play Player's Handbook races and classes and subclasses for this part of the campaign. We flexed it a little bit for one shots, but for this main campaign, and it's complex even with that, like without all the extra variables in the books.
Oh, totally. Like, well, and that's always kind of been a thing about D&D is that like classes have always had different rules that apply differently to each character, like to each class, versus something like systems that are a bit more like they're class agnostic. So it's like you're buying points or you're whatever, and then it can be completely tweakable, but there is kind of like the overarching framework that it's all inside, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, in answer to your original question, Calvin, we have no idea how bonus.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is that for clerics, spiritual weapon. That's all you got to. It's all you got to think about for bonus action.
But we homebrewed a rule around that too, just to be little shits, didn't we? Because we only let you use 1 spell slot per turn, so you can cantrip and bonus action, or you can spell and bonus action cantrip, but you can't do both. You can't spiritual weapon and guiding bolt, man. Why? Just to make your life hard. That's why.
Because we're hardcore here at the D20 Initiative.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think I'm going to wrap up our performance check here, but any audience members watching who might have any rule questions or character questions or story questions about the show, hit us up on the social medias. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of the places. Pretty easy to find if you Google us. We'll.
How do you explain action economy?
Yeah, explain it to us.
Yeah. Because we're still trying to figure it out. So.
Yeah. With that, I'm going to say good night or good morning or whenever it is you're watching this. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again.
See you
Bye, everyone.
Bye. You know what to do.